On May 6, 2023, the Holbrook Baseball field was named after a man known as Leanus. His impact has been felt greatly by many, especially one man who was able to begin a dream career because of this special human being.
After a few years of raising my kids, I wanted to become a referee. And my wife suggested, you should go talk to Bill Leanus. I had already known what Bill had done with the state championships and the town, what he did for the town, and how important he was to Holbrook High. Of my 33 years officiating, I was on his crew for 20 years. Great guy, great official. Like I said, he knew everybody everywhere. You couldn't stop, you'd go someplace and where's Bill Leanus? How's Bill Leanus doing? He was my mentor, he was my teacher, and I felt really strongly about becoming an official because of him. It was that fatherly input that he had for me, again, guiding me through good times and bad. And then he just became, he became part of our family too.
Although known for his incredible coaching career, Leanus built a connection with his players and students that is irreplaceable.
Way back in the day, probably in the 50s and 60s, when I was playing Little League Baseball, that you'd find him up at the field talking to coaches, talking to players. And every weekend that during the baseball season, he had an informal little come on down and hang out and let's see what we can do. And he brought some of his high school players with him. And the kids, his high school players absolutely loved that. Some of the kids that came out those Saturdays with him and his players played for him later on in life. And you saw the 4 state championships. And those were huge in this town. Kids on the fire truck, running up to the old high school. And it was just something special for this town. And Bill was proud as punch. I'll never forget him sitting in the middle of the ladder truck, big smile on his face, with the hat on backwards, waving to everybody as they came through Holbrook School up to the high school.
Leanus' impact on Holbrook, Callahan, and so many others will be remembered forever.
His legacy is going to remain in Holbrook. I mean, I counted 122 of his former players that were there. And some of them brought their kids and 2 of them brought their grandkids. It just meant so much to me to see all these players whose lives he touched come out for this dedication. Bill was as I said in the field day, Bill was a legend. Bill's favorite word was, sounds like a plan to me, and sounded like a plan that things went so well on Saturday. So that's my story about Bill Leanus.
For Code Blue Now, I'm Jordan Cioffi. Back to you in the studio.